Prince Harry, the world's least happy millionaire, strikes again. The permanently depressed Duke, addressing a crowd of 40,000 people at the opening ceremony of the Invictus Games, moaned about the state of the world. He complained about all of the crises, the uncertainty, and the weak moral character of modern society. And he highlighted the key theme of the 2025 event.
This year's Games is a home for respect.
Interesting, Harry.
Think about that word for a second. Respect.
Oh, Harry, I'm thinking.
What does it mean to you?
Being a good son and father, Harry?
What does it look like?
Not throwing my family under the bus to make a fast buck?
What does it feel like?
Like being a loyal person and not a spoiled brat and prize numpty. Who is Harry to lecture anyone on respect when he knowingly sacrificed his family, his country and the British monarchy for financial gain? And if he's going to opine about character, tell me about the character of someone who allows his own family to be cast as racist. Tell me about the character of someone who criticises his father's parenting skills, even though Charles had to raise the two boys as a single parent. Tell me about the character of someone who described his stepmother as a dangerous villain in his pathetic book Spare, a book so puerile it doesn't even belong in a children's library, and the first manuscript of which I would imagine was written in crayon. Tell me about the character of someone who has a physical fight with his own brother involving a right hook from William which landed Harry on the floor. Imagine putting that into a book rather than respecting the family, that's right, respect Harry, and keeping it behind closed doors. Tell me about the character of someone who in this book painted a picture of Princess Catherine as a cold and distant sister-in-law. Now, Meghan Markle may have influenced that particular chapter. Of course, I have no evidence for that. But it was Harry that put his name to it. Shame on him. I could write 50 books about the royal family and not conjure a syllable of criticism for Catherine, whose commitment to the family and her country is unparalleled. She's a devoted wife, mother and public servant who has spent the last year bravely battling cancer. William will eventually become king, something to rejoice, and I suspect that Catherine will invoke memories of Queen Elizabeth when she takes to the throne, given her own similar stoic commitment to the cause. But that didn't stop Harry and the Sussexes' PR machine from sending snipers Catherine's way. It's my view that the Sussex squad detest Princess Catherine, and why wouldn't they? She shows them up for the disloyal, classless phonies that they are. Harry talks about a lack of moral character in the world. Well, tell me about the character of someone who arguably consigned his grandmother, the aforementioned Elizabeth, to an early grave, with the threat of that forthcoming book weighing on her mind. Now, it's impossible to say whether the fear of what may have been in that book affected Elizabeth's health as she approached the end of her life, but it can't have helped, can it? Harry is going to have to live with the mental anguish inflicted on Philip and Elizabeth for the rest of his life. He made several $1 million from the book. I do hope it was worth it. But don't tell me about character, Harry, when your own wife made horrific accusations against an unnamed member of the royal family for the great crime of wondering what their unborn child would look like, a standard conversation among any expectant family. Speculation was allowed to linger about the so-called royal racist before the couple disingenuously rode back on that accusation and in fact started talking about unconscious bias or some other woke bollocks. Don't talk to me about character when Meghan Markle's relationship with the truth is as slender as her figure. For example, her claims that she didn't really know who Harry was when they dated, or that she didn't know much about the royal family, even though she was photographed in front of Buckingham Palace as a teenager, grinning from ear to ear. Plus, there was her ludicrous claim that she married the day before her wedding, dismissed as nonsense by none other than the Archbishop of Canterbury. But it's not just Harry's actions that preclude him from judging the character of others. It's his attitude too. His whole life is one long sob story. "Oh, woe is me," says this wealthy aristocrat, born into untold privilege and now resident in a California mansion that we're told boasts 16 bathrooms, while he's the one going down the toilet. How can this guy stand in front of injured war veterans who have battled catastrophic injuries to rebuild their lives and participate in competitive sport, and yet he still feels sorry for himself? Now, the Invictus Games are a great credit to Harry, and deep down I still like the guy, and I feel sorry for him. It's my view that he made a catastrophic mistake when he married Meghan Markle. In my view, it's not so much a marriage as a hostage situation, although I'd rather be chained to a radiator in the Middle East than have to spend a nanosecond with that socially climbing bit part actress that wasn't even the best thing in Suits. My concern is not just how out of touch this man is, but how hypocritical he is as he flies to Vancouver on a private jet whilst lecturing the public on the importance of net zero and of changing our lifestyles. And the Invictus Games opening ceremony was frankly a bit strange. Following Harry's moan fest about the state of the world, Chris Martin of Coldplay took to the stage. Blimey! Have these people not suffered enough? I'm sure many of those veterans would rather be back in a war zone than listen to his whiny tunes. Now, Harry has an amazing life, a famous, beautiful spouse, 2 fabulous children, untold wealth, fame, royal lineage, and yet he's permanently in a bad mood. Get over yourself, Harry. Spend some time in the real world where ordinary folk are struggling to make ends meet, battling a cost of living crisis and living paycheck to paycheck. Thinking about other people rather than yourself would transform that terribly important mental health of yours, Harry, about which you're always giving us excruciating detail. And I must say, the headlines aren't getting any better for Harry, as the Duke of Sussex is no longer considered to be a royal by a majority of the British public. The research published by Ipsos found that just 21% of Brits think that the Duke is still a proper royal. Well, it's right that he shouldn't be considered a royal because he is not. He renounced that when he did those horrific interviews, when he wrote the book and when he left the country. And it would now be more honest if he and his wife ditched those royal titles too, given that they've made it clear they hate the institution of the monarchy so much. But I can think of a few million reasons why they'll be hanging on to them. I will say one thing, and you may not agree. Whilst he's no longer a royal, I do believe that Harry should have maximum royal protection. Why? Well, yes, I know he's a self-indulgent crybaby, but it wasn't his choice to be born the son of the future king of the United Kingdom. He will always be a target, and for me, it's money no object to keep his entire family safe, however irritating that may be. But that debate is for another day. There's one good bit of news for Harry, and it comes in the unlikely form of President Donald Trump, who has said he will not seek to deport the Duke as the Heritage Foundation pursue allegations that he may have lied on his visa application about his previous drug use. How ironic that Donald Trump, a man that Harry and Meghan effectively campaigned against in November, saves Harry's bacon. Trump told the New York Post, "I don't want to deport Harry, I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible." Unbelievable. Listen, who could disagree? Maybe that's why poor old Harry is always in a bad mood. But if he's worried about a lack of character in the world, the first place he should start looking is in the mirror. Thank you for watching. I've got so much more to say about the royal family and so many more interviews to come. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that alarm bell because I'll be doing lots of emergency hot takes when big royal stories are breaking. And if you'd like more of my content without adverts, why don't you head over to my Substack? Because there I do lots of extra material. There are live videos in which you can message me directly. and a whole world of Dolan content. So all you've got to do is head to markdolan.com. See you there.